Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi there. Almost like we never left.
Beth, we've been meeting a lot.
I understand the feeling. I've been meeting a lot, just not with all of you.
Yeah. Yeah. We did 4 hours and 10 minutes last night.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Oh my gosh. That's a long meeting.
yes, and some of us have met again already this afternoon, and here we go again. So we're getting to know each other.
Well, applause to everybody for persistence.
How's everything at the university?
You know, we're just zooming along. It's all I can say. Thanksgiving is looking good just to get a couple days break. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Are you bringing students back after Thanksgiving, or did you opt
there's
to the?
2 weeks after.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, remains to be seen. As we all know, it's very much a day-to-day way of living, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you had any incidents of COVID, Beth?
We've had a few more now in this second wave.
Yeah.
So little spikes up that you can see just from the fact that there's more infection going on all around us.
Yeah.
Well, I found out today, my daughter, she lives in what they refer to as a pod. So there are 10 of them across 4 rooms. So a couple singles in there. 7 out of the 10 of them, including Mary, have now been diagnosed as positive.
Oh,
And
no.
they don't know how. They said they've been really good at following all the rules and they can't figure it out. She's asymptomatic, as are all of them, except for 2 of the girls have pretty mild symptoms, but they go to an isolation house and now spend some time there. So it's funny because she's actually seems almost relieved to know, as opposed to be really worried about it.
Just in a question mark state. Yeah. Well, hopefully it just comes and goes for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will she be home for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, they stay from Thanksgiving until the second week of February because their January term is online.
Wow.
They wanted to let that wave of whatever's going to happen stop, and then they do a period of 3 weeks of gradually integrating back onto campus. We'll see if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
They're all packing. They have to pack all their stuff and leave it on their bed in case they aren't allowed to return. So.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, I saw Dave on Donnybrook.
I think he mostly enjoyed it. He worried a little bit the first few questions were better suited for a historian, but then they got to political science and he said he felt like he had some fun even, so.
Yeah, well, apparently that's going to be a regular feature now, so.
Oh, is he on regularly?
Well, the next up part where they feature somebody in our community just answering their questions, which, you know, you have to have some level of courage, I think, to be willing to do that. So I was pulling for him.
Well, he did ask the producer, you know, will you at least send me the topics? You don't have to send me the specific questions. And they didn't send him a thing. So I don't know whether that was in the crush of getting things ready or whether that was just like, oh, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we're at 4:34 and I'm trying to see, I think maybe John Simpson and our new person at the school district will be joining us soon. We'll wait just for a few more minutes and then does everyone have a copy of the agenda with them? Yeah, okay.
And then I don't know whether this is for Steve or for Joanne. If when we get to the history portion, I can share my screen, it might make it easier for all of us.
Great.
Not Keita may want to do the talking, which would be fine with me. So I can at least flash up there what we've been working on.
Okay, good. And so you know how to do the screen share, right?
I do, yes.
Okay,
Well, I mean, I assume that somebody can set it up so that I'm able to. And now I am. It says that I am. So
Yes,
we're
down
good.
at the
Yeah,
bottom, there's
I
a
was gonna
share
say
screen
down
option.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so often you start to do it and you don't have permission. So thank you for giving me permission.
all right, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure everybody is eager to do this as efficiently as possible so that we can continue to watch the evening news and see what the latest is. So welcome to everyone. When we have the school district on, I think John's going to introduce the new coordinator of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our second agenda item, in addition to the welcome, is to take a look at our goals and our work plan. And I don't know if anybody saw anything on there that needed to be changed. I've gone back to previous notes and we've spent an awful lot of time working this document up. And it's probably something that we can revisit at our next meeting. I don't think our goals have changed. We're continuing to work on some of those items, and I want to talk about those community resources later on. So let's go to the updates of activities and staffing. And the first one was the school district, but John is not here yet. So let's go to the Webster University. And Beth, if you want to update us on what's going on at the university with DEI.
Well, sure. So we're in the early stages. Vincent might say middle because he's been working on it quite a long time, of getting ready for a virtual version of our annual conference. End of February, I won't for sure give you the right dates, but we're definitely doing 3 days worth. And we know that Colette Cummings, who's our good colleague and the Multicultural Center, is going to she helped us with bringing in some of the great keynotes that we had, and she's agreed to do the same this year. So Vincent could tell you more about this than I do, but we've put out a call for proposals in our own faculty and staff and students, and getting a lot of eager anticipation. And the fact that we can do it virtually this year really allows us to bring in some people from our other campuses, and we think it'll be more interesting and more diverse than ever. So we're really excited about it. Vincent continues the every other week Webster Speaks. So it was not on this past week, but it's on this coming week. And the coming week's topic is various individuals who talk about what their journey has been to become anti-racist. All white this time, which is the first for this program. It's been Black before this. So it'll be a very interesting take to say, what was it that got you started on this journey? And what have you learned, and how do you put that into action? Wendy Bruner is one of the panelists, and Jackson Hodling is another. So, a little bit of local talent on this week's program. And then in an interesting conversation yesterday that Julian and I had, the president and vice president of student government wanted to meet with us, and they said they had a proposal they wanted us to consider. Well, it was easy to agree to it. They want to reach out to students from the city and the county, from underrepresented groups. I'm sure they have in mind African American, and also LGBTQIA students in high school, that they want to help them understand what it means to be a student leader and to develop their leadership talents. Because what these two young women appreciate about Webster is that our student government and leadership is very diverse and inclusive. And they said they would want young people in high schools to know, whatever leadership you're already developing in your high school environment, plan to continue it once you go to college, and we'll talk to you about what that's like. So in I think January 23rd, they're planning a whole like one-day conference that they'll invite high school juniors and seniors to as a way to try to help them be more effective leaders in diverse and inclusive ways. So I'm really excited about the fact that that's kind of from our own students coming up with the idea. And it was so funny when they started talking to Joyanne and me, they first said, well, we know we don't really have to have your approval to do this, but we're hoping that you'll like the idea. I said, well, you're absolutely right. You could do this without ever telling us about it, but we want to hop in and help out. So it's really exciting. So that's just kind of the top line of some things that I know are going on. We also have a group of faculty that are leading what anti-racist teaching looks like workshops in our faculty development center. So like any community, there's probably a lot more going on in Webster Groves than any of us can possibly know about, but it's certainly true at the university that different departments, different individuals, different student organizations have a tremendous amount of activity going on, and I don't always know about it, and I think that's actually a good thing.
Wow, thank you, Beth. There is a lot going on at the university. Thank you so much. Does any, yeah.
Keita?
Yes. Would you make sure that John knows, or Sean, when she comes on, that she gets the information regarding the leadership program?
Absolutely. You know that we would want to do that. So yes, absolutely, Keita. Thank you.
Great.
There's a group at the high school called Webster Challenge that would probably be very, very interested in
That's
that.
just great. And what an opportunity to network them with a larger group of fellow high school students too.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody else have a question or thought for Beth? All right. Next on our list was the Webster Groves Library, and Tom is not with us today. And so we're going to go to the city, and Joanne is going to update us on the city.
Hey, Joanne, can I just ask a quick question? It looks like Webster Groves has a YouTube channel now that we're streaming this to.
So today,
That's awesome.
I haven't followed up with Steve Bader, our IT manager, but he is doing all of this behind the scenes. We had to have two separate Zoom sessions at the same time. So he's done some fabulous work here to set us up this way. So
This is awesome. It's really cool that like you can go on YouTube and watch it just looking at it. So.
Oh, good. So everyone knows you're on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. So Joanne, you're on.
I wanted to just mention that in early October, our HR specialist, Dawn, and I both had met with someone from Beloved Communities, and we had a very lengthy conversation about doing the equity audit, and both the mini audit and then the lengthy audit. And we have been attempting to follow up with her to get the material because there was certain things she wanted to provide us as far as instructional material that we could share with the department directors as we move forward with this. Unfortunately, we keep getting notices that I'm sorry, I'm just really busy. I'll get back with you. I'll get back with you. And so we're still waiting for her to get back with us. We're still doing other items in-house, smaller pieces that we can work on before this and get ourselves more familiar with certain policies and procedures and things that we know we need to be working on. But we were hoping that we could get started on this sooner, and we're just not, unfortunately, don't have the material so that we can move forward. So we're still doing things. So for example, on our hiring processes, we're working on that a little bit better so that we make sure that we're more diverse in the way in which we are looking out for applicants, the way for where we advertise our vacant positions and such. And, you know, I think we consistently, and I know Dale is on, we continue to try to work hard on the police side in order to make it more diverse. And so we are looking at potentially putting someone through the academy in order to get a more diverse set of individuals in the police force.
Joanne or Dale, what does that mean when we say I know, so for example, the fire academy, that would mean that a department sponsors and pays for somebody to go through the academy. What does it mean in the police environment?
That is correct, but I'll let Dale speak because he could provide more details than I can.
Thanks, thanks, Joanne. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever we sponsor some with the academy, it's now 6 months. So we have to hire them. We do the normal hiring process, which includes a background and psychological. That all has to be done before the academy will accept them as a candidate. Then they go through the academy. That's a 6 months period. And then when they come out of the academy, they have a 6 month training period.
Do we pay then for the academy and all of
Yes,
those
we do.
costs? Okay,
Yes.
good. All right, Joanne, anything else? We'll just keep nibbling at this.
That's what it is. It's little bite-sized pieces that we're trying to do right now until we can actually make some bigger progress.
Yeah.
I would like to suggest that, and I understand probably the beloved community, because when I talked to all those other representatives and people who worked in the field, they were just inundated with requests for assistance and employment opportunities for them. But I would like for us, if this doesn't sort itself out, by the first of the year, that we consider another avenue, because I don't know that we want to be on hold with them for a long time. And frankly, Kira Banks is one who said, come back to me at the beginning of the year if you're still in need of some help. And so I'm going to plant that seed in case we're in that position.
Well, I was thinking that exactly that. We will wait just a little bit longer. But then once we have our new city manager in play, we can work toward whatever the city manager wishes. And it may be a slightly different departure.
Yes. So. All right. So we don't have the school district or the library. So we're going to go to the history committee, which is what Laura wanted to talk about with Kita and share screen share. All right, Laura and Kita, you're on.
John just asked for the Zoom link, by the way, so hopefully he will be joining shortly.
Did you send it to him?
I did, yes. I forwarded it to him. He had texted me a few minutes ago and I just saw the text message. So,
thank you.
Just FYI.
Okay, so hopefully you can see this now. Lewis Davis, Janet Davis, Kita and I met, I'm not even sure I remember when it was now. September? Yeah. End of September, and talked about what we had. I wasn't really sure that we had called it the History Project, but we'll call it the History Project now. And we had a great conversation, in my opinion, and I'm going to talk, and I can't really see you all now because I see mostly my screen. So someone just tell me to stop talking when you would like to weigh in, especially Lewis and Kita. But we talked about, the emphasis being that we don't want to just talk about history. It has to be relevant to what we're talking about today and actions that people can take. So each of the opportunities to talk about history would be tied to some of the things that we're dealing with in our community now, and we'd provide an opportunity for community comment. And so we really talked about three basic potential topics, one being small business in the community, housing, and policing. And we decided to set policing aside because the Police Community Engagement Board is doing their thing, and let's let them do their thing. And so we had a pretty, I thought, vibrant discussion about, do we want to focus on housing for the first one, or we want to focus on businesses? Because for those of you who may not be familiar, North Webster had a thriving business community for a very long time. And to think about that in connection to business and how business operates in our community today was something we were interested in doing. However, we decided to put housing first. Most of you on this call know that I care a whole lot about housing, but I want to confess that it was not me who decided that it was housing. And hopefully Kita and Lewis will back me up on that. And so maybe what I'll do is scroll down and I don't know, Keita or Lewis, do you want to talk a little bit about what we've done, or you want me to just keep rolling on?
I mean, you're doing pretty well. We pretty much just kind of settled, like you said, on starting with housing, and just trying to figure out where to go. Like I said, how to make these stories relevant, possible teachable moments, if you will, to things that are happening now. And one of the things that came up was the possible new development by Shady Creek. So it seemed relevant. A relevant topic to kind of do a history of housing and how maybe different policies have affected North Webster residents. What could possibly be done different so that this new development, if it moves forward, can be handled more equitably. That's the hopeful goal, if you will. Did I sum that up? Okay.
Sounds great to me.
Okay.
So one of the things that we also talked about was, part of this whole community conversation group is to reach people who maybe are open to talking about these issues of equity and inclusion now, who weren't necessarily ready a year ago, or who didn't want or hadn't heard some of the context and history around North Webster. So we're going to propose that we invite some other people to join us in planning this so that we can extend our reach in the audience and the community that we might have. And so we're proposing to invite in planning the Alliance for Racial Dignity, the Historical Society, the library, and then everybody else who is in this group as part of this. I also, thought later that we might include Faith in the Forsake of All, who's housed here in Webster, that does housing-based equity training, and they might have some people who would help give us some good perspective. So what we're proposing is, given where we are in the world, a Zoom panel discussion of some people who can share their experiences focused around the 5 questions that are really broad that are on your screen. And we'd have a moderator, and we would provide at the end, people could ask questions during the course of the panel, but we'd also provide an opportunity to connect these to current issues. And so the development being one of them, the kinds of housing we as a city promote through our ordinances or don't promote. I'm going to throw in, maybe could raise the issue of what a community land trust is and what it might look like. So that we're connecting the history to where we are now, so people leave with something they can do to get involved with housing related issues in the community itself. And then one of the important things we talked about is that people should have a means to provide feedback, even if they couldn't make the session, right? We're all Zooming so much. So can we post a recording of the session somewhere with a survey link so that people can provide their input and information to us outside of whatever window of time we present this? And we did have, as part of our discussion, that we need to give people the opportunity to do some of this anonymously. If we want people to be absolutely honest with us, we need to give them the opportunity to feel like they're safe in doing that. And sometimes that means not being required to leave your name. And I will stop there and let my other group members comment from here.
I mean, you've pretty much summed it up from where I am. Mr. Davis, do you have any more to add? Have we done everything okay?
Can you hear me? I don't know. My
Yes,
wife is
you're a little bit low.
Huh?
You're a little bit low.
Okay, because we've had computer problems, and she's in there with the Geek Squad, and I don't know what's going on with this because I have no idea what to do.
I think you're doing great.
It's fine now.
Mhm.
Is it?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, you're fine.
The Savior has come. I don't know. I can't volume it. She can't hear me. They can't hear me.
No. You're fine.
We can
You're
hear
fine
you.
now.
We can hear you.
When you moved closer to the computer, you were a lot better.
What's all this up here?
That's
Okay.
her summary of what's going on.
Okay. I gotta go back.
Okay. She's leaving me all alone. No, what we had discussed was really good. My concern is about the change in the neighborhood. You know, we're doing all of this for a recognition from North Webster, but North Webster is rapidly changing. And, you know, I'm concerned as to how that will continue to be of interest to people. You know, the history of it. We want to maintain that history, but, you know, Laura's done a fantastic job in explaining it. So, you know, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay.
That can be added as a discussion, as part of the discussion for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. It's John Simpson. Sorry I'm late to the party, but whoever has controls, our new Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Sean Williamson, is in the waiting room. You may not recognize her name or anything, but if whoever has access to it. Apologize. Thank you.
I think that's Steve Bader that has access, or Joanne, who's the host on this?
Steve is. He'll give her access in just a minute.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So in the interest of kind of moving us on, because I know we have other agenda items, I think really what we would like from you is just a sort of permission to proceed, and we'll see if we can convene some people from those other organizations and come back with something a little more concrete in terms of how we move forward.
I think it sounds wonderful to be able to do this. Whether the community is changing or not, it provides a historical perspective of what it was like to live in a really close-knit, caring community. So unless anybody does anybody object to having them move forward with this? If not, I think you all have done a wonderful job, and I think you should go ahead and we'll hopefully get something scheduled and move this on. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any questions? All right, John Simpson, we wanted to hear a report from the school district, but we'll wait until, and her name again is?
Sean. Yeah.
And we'll
There
wait
she is.
Oh, there she is, Sean Williamson.
Hi.
Hi. Sean, welcome to our group. We're delighted to have you and so glad to have you in the city of Webster Groves and with the school district, and hope that this is a really good experience for you here.
Yes, it has been. Thank you, Jerry.
Good. So, John, I'm going to back up. We talked about some updates from the university and the city. And I'm going to throw this over to you so that if you have some updates about DEI activities and staffing and you want to talk a little bit about Sean, please, I'm going to give the floor to you.
Sounds good. Well, good evening to everybody. I will share a little bit. Sean and I did this a little bit earlier this morning when we were on a regional Zoom with people doing the same type of work across the region in other school districts, as well as activist organizers. So super excited to have Sean as a part of our team. She was hired by the Board of Education a little over a month ago now, and was the result of a search that drew a lot of attention. We had over 130 applicants. And I will let her introduce herself. She's got quite a background and wealth of experience. So Sean, floor is yours.
Sure, thank you. So I have over, dating myself, 25 years of experience in higher education, and a lot of it was based in diversity, equity, and inclusion work. And I'm coming to you from Lindenwood University, where I was there as their Associate Vice President of Student Life and Diversity and Chief Diversity Officer for the entire system in Missouri and Illinois. And so like John said, happy to be here and been working very hard ever since.
So tell us a little bit about your plans for the school district.
So my plans, at least for these first 30, 60 days, has just been meeting as many people as I could possibly meet, whether that's students, parents, community involvement, teachers, and principals, and kind of learning the lay of the land. And we already kind of jumped in, right, Dr. Simpson? And so the first week here, we had a 3-hour anti-racism, anti-bias training for all certified staff that I had to create. And so that was great. And so all of our teachers went through that in October, and the last set went through yesterday. And so that was great. And so looking at trainings and then whatever work that we deem necessary that we need to complete, whether it's immediate as well as long-term.
Great. All right, John, do you want to add anything to that?
Again, just major kudos to Dr. Williamson, and we definitely, it's diversity, equity, inclusion is all of our responsibility. It's the system's responsibility, and having her leadership is already moving us forward. We're really grateful for her. I think I've probably already shared some other stuff, but we're doing different curriculum work in social studies with Dr. LeGarrette King, who's out of Mizzou, who does a lot of work specifically in with the integration of just making sure Black history is present in curriculum at all levels and stages. Super excited about the work that he'll bring to us in our curriculum development, as well as training of teachers. We have students at the elementary level with plans to move upward, engaging in an anti-bias curriculum that's provided through the Anti-Defamation League. So that's a big thing. Our group has been working on a anti-racism, anti-bias policy. We found one in Virginia in the spring, and we've been working with stakeholders, including some of our students, to develop something for Webster Groves. It's my hope that that we have enough people that can convene this coming week and get it on the board agenda for this coming Thursday night for a first read. So that's a sampling of the things. Again, we're looking at how do we provide ongoing context-based development for all of our staff. Dr. Williamson is working with the nurses group to create something for our nurses right now. So how do we structure that for all of our staff in an ongoing way? Again, that's contextual to, you're the first person that families meet when they come into the school. Like, what does it look? What are some commonalities across all those? But what are some contextual based things, for example, with our nurses and all the people that they're interacting with and at this time? And so, yeah, super excited. And again, Dr. Williamson is definitely the highlight for us. So
great.
Yep.
Does anyone have a question for Dr. Simpson?
I just like to pay a compliment to the school district. You know, they this fall put together a food pantry where they provide boxes of food to families. And I have had the opportunity, because of my Webster Rock Hill ministry work, and Emerson has a little bit as well, to interact with them. And they are fantastic, and they are so dedicated to what they're doing. So I wanted to take this opportunity to pay them that compliment.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, and John and Sean, in my update, I talked about the fact that the vice president and president of our student government are planning a leadership conference on January 23rd for diverse student leaders at area high schools.
Oh, great.
I just heard about this yesterday, so I'm sure it's still early in getting the word out, but we'll want to invite student leaders that you identify to be part of that conference.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Thanks, Beth.
You're welcome. And
good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
No, it's been a long, long time. And, you know, more days to come before it's in the flesh, but it's good to Zoom.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
The purpose of this group was to make connections. So this is great that you all can do that. The next agenda item we wanted to talk about was a forum committee. At our last meeting, we talked about the fact that without the Webster Kirkwood Times, it was hard to find a place to get information out. And now that the Webster Kirkwood Times is back, I wanted to talk a little bit about what that forum committee really ought to be doing. I think there were 3 of us. It was Sarah and Neil and I who had volunteered for that. But what I think we need, and it's part of what's in that goal and work plan, is not so much a forum, but a place where we can compile put all these resources together so that somebody from the community can go to one place and see what the book clubs are at the library, what the university is offering that's open to the public, what the school district is doing, what the city is doing. And we need to find a way of putting that together in an accessible way for the community. And so that's what I'd really like to do, is reconstitute what we call the forum committee and call it a resource coordinating committee, and get a couple of folks from not just the city, not just Neil and Sarah and I, but if we could convince Tom Cooper, for example, to join us, and a couple of other people, and figure out if we need to do a citywide website. We need to link to website. I'm not sure exactly how to do that, but I think we really do need to. So I wanted to throw that open for comments and ambulance for comments. And so.
What would the purpose of it be?
I think the purpose would be to identify a place where people in the community could go to access the programs, the resources that are out there around the topics of DEI, and to figure out what they are. You know, whether we just needed a website page or something. That would be the purpose.
I would say that in the town gown meetings that we have had periodically with the city and university leaders, we do sort of a similar thing where we link the events that are going on at the university and the city to each other's site. And Jerry, if you decide to go ahead with this, I would think Jenny Starkey, who helps us do that with the town gown, would be the logical choice to help us do this way. It's hard for us, even at the university, like I said before, to know everything that's available.
Yeah.
So we're trying to build out a new website, which is what we're in the thick of right now, so that even at the university, you can go to a DEI website and find everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's even harder when you combine library, school district, churches, Eden, everywhere else. And if people are really interested in growing and learning, it'd be good for them to be able to have sort of a clearinghouse or one-stop shop where they could find that, it seems to me.
And I think that's a really good idea for a university, but I just don't know if that's the right idea for a government. Like, I don't think that we should, it seems like, I don't know, like, it just seems like we're trying to be the experts when in fact what we're trying to do is implement or ensure we are promoting or actually enacting the things that the clearinghouse would educate people on. Does that make sense?
But I don't see this necessarily as a function of the government, just as this group is a group of city resources. And so I think we're looking to see what we can accomplish by pulling the university, the school district, the city, the library together. That's what I'm thinking about.
It just seems like we have so many other important issues that we should be dealing with, not dealing with, oh, let's just gather everything in one place. That's all. I guess that's what I'm advocating for. I'd rather spend our time and resources on something else.
Okay.
Part of it is, David, is I think we're trying to pool all the resources together for the community. And so it would be a benefit for the community to have a one-stop place, wherever it resides. What it's doing is it's putting everything from Webster Groves and all the different entities in one place. So residents or business owners can go to that as a resource.
Right.
I see it more community than government.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
I do too.
But again, is that something that we really, is this really something that this group wants to spend its time and resources on? Aren't there more pressing, more important things to do than create a clearinghouse?
Well, that's what I'm asking the group, and either the group can say, nah, forget it, or yeah, we think it's a good idea. So that's why I'm asking.
And this might be a great opportunity for an internship opportunity for a Webster University student, because they'd be working with all different areas and pulling in the resources, and something to think about.
I think it should be overall part of our equity and diversity inclusion plan, and not necessarily something outside by itself. So if we want to gather all of our resources with the university, school district, that should be on our scope and our overall plan. I don't know if now is the right time to do it, but it definitely should be there, because we're talking about doing the equity with Joanne, with the other company to measure how we are as a city. But having all those resources in one place, I think, is valuable. I find myself now going to Webster's website more often than I used to, because there's a lot of resources there
Yeah.
that I can find. Yeah. So if we're able to connect their resources to our website, that's great. So,
and it doesn't necessarily have to be our website that hosts it. I mean, that's why I thought it was worthy of a committee discussion about how we do this.
Yeah. Just seems like all we're grasping here for is the low-hanging fruit. And it's like, if that's what this committee wants to do, then I don't think we're going to move Webster, this region, forward.
And I think that's why I believe that there should be an overall strategic plan for our diversity, equity, inclusion progress, so we have some type of format, steps that we can follow consistently and in sync with what we want to do. Just making plans or decision for this one, and then for this one and this one. I think we'll just have some type of strategic plan so we can follow it and fulfill it.
And it would be wonderful if the city was able to have someone that the school district has in order to assist us with this.
I agree with you, David.
Okay, so I'm hearing yes, and then I'm hearing opposition. So before we decide to move forward with this, I need to hear from some others here.
Could I just say that there could be an opportunity where we at least share information like Beth had suggested, because Jenny Starkey has been an absolute resource for us for items that we share. And she's been a wonderful resource with the Business Development Commission as well. And I think however we can continue to build our relationships would be fabulous. And if there is something that's being worked on with Webster University, we could share the information. We don't have to do a lot on the city side at this point until we decide with our strategic plan and our other processes with DEI, but at least we could share on Facebook and do other things. So at least it shows that we are aware of and willing to distribute this in another fashion.
Absolutely. I mean, it seems simple though, right? It doesn't seem like we need a subcommittee to do that. That's all I'm saying.
In Tom's absence, I mean, a logical place would be for it to be at the library, and maybe it's linked to the university library, but where you would go for information. So.
And that's part of what a committee would explore is where you go and how you put this together. So
I was going to suggest Facebook, or there's another form called Wakelet, WAKELET. It's really very, very simple to just uplink. If there's an event, you just uplink the link to it. Facebook, you can perhaps just turn off comments and just make it available for people. So if there is a discussion or a forum or some kind of something else that you want people to know about, some sort of event, whatever, you can just put it out there. The entire world in Webster is on Facebook. So I actually see some worth in at least sharing information.
So I'm hearing, yes.
I have another thing I just need to tell you. we can only meet for 15 more minutes because there's a problem with technology, I've been told. So I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
Well, we're at the end of the agenda and we're just going to make a decision right now about whether we put this committee together or not. I hear yeses and I hear a strong no from David and I hear nothing from some of you. So, okay, all in favor of putting a committee together to at least explore this, please raise your hand. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, sorry, David, but we're going to put a small committee together. We're going to explore nothing that's huge, but something where if, for example, the history committee has spent a lot of time working on this program. If I'm a community person and I want to know what's going on in this town in terms of DEI, there's one place I can go and I can look it up. So who's going to volunteer to join? Sarah, I'm going to keep you on there, right? Sarah and Neil and I, who's going to volunteer? Jenny Starkey, Tom Cooper? Anybody else? And Keita. All right, then we have the school district and
Wait a minute, Keita, you can't abandon the other committee for this committee.
she's a strong woman. She's going to do too.
Oh, I know she's a strong woman. I do, but
I was going to volunteer Tom. I think he's a good candidate. Since he's not here.
Tom, yes, I volunteered Tom, so I will just automatically volunteer him, and then we'll go ahead and meet together. All right. Next meeting and agenda items. Since we have not much time, when would you like to meet? What would you like to talk about?
I think the more pressing issue for me is I'd like to see this on the city council agenda.
I agree. And
Okay.
yeah.
It
We have
has
some work
been
to do
now
on our
4 or
own.
5 months and we
Yeah.
keep being told that it's going to be on our agenda.
All right, we will put this on our agenda. Sorry. What else? Okay. Shall we think about meeting in January? Yes? 4:30-ish time frame? January, that'll give Laura's group time. It'll give the coordinating group time, the whatever we're going to call ourselves, a one-stop shop group time. And then by January, Beth will have additional information on your annual conference to share with us. And we may have a city manager in place in January that we can share with the group also. So there's a lot that we can look forward to in January.
Beth, I'd like to have information about your sometime in January, way before we meet. I pass that information around the city when we get it.
Absolutely. As soon as we've got information, it's going to be out, and Vincent's on vacation this week, and that's why he missed. And so is Jenny, by the way. So I'll connect with our two colleagues. They really are the leads on the conference, and I'll make sure Emerson and everyone that it gets pushed out right away.
And just, I don't know how many tune into Vince's program. I mean, I'm there that's something that the city can share because it's really, it's good, you know.
Yeah.
This is what I mean about.
So we share it.
One of these days, I'm gonna send them some money.
Oh my God, we shared something on Facebook. Oh.
Yeah, he does a really great job, and I'm proud of the work he's doing. Yeah. Thank you.
You know, there's a real advantage to the virtual conferences. When I did one in September, the quality of people that you can get to do presentations is so much better, because you can get all sorts of good national and regional folks that don't have to travel. I'm looking forward to this. This will be great.
Yeah, I think this year's will be really worthwhile. Not that the others haven't been, but we just we learn every year.
Yeah,
every year it gets better.
Good.
Since it'll be a while before
too, when we can watch it, because I definitely want to be there.
Yeah. Okay.
And Laura, you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to make one announcement. The December Alliance for Interracial Dignity meeting is going to, it at least is tentatively scheduled to be a presentation from a group of Washington University students who Karen Alexander and I have been working with about
Great.
educating our community on a community land trust and doing some research on best practices for community engagement around that. So I would invite you on December 17th at 7 p.m. If you're not on the Alliance mailing list, you won't get the Zoom link. So if you want to be on it and you can't find it, just send me an email and I'll make sure you get on there.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. All right. If we have nothing else, I have time to go out and see where the ambulance is in my neighborhood right now. So,
Okay. All right.
And Beth, do you have anything that you want to?
Nope. Just stay well, everyone.
Yeah, stay well. Thank you all.
Have a wonderful
All
holiday.
right. Have a good evening.
Yes, have a good evening, a wonderful holiday. Check the 5:30 news for updates.
Or not.
Dr. Williamson, we're really happy to have you. Thank you. For
Yes.
being
Yes,
here.
we are.
Thank
We're very
you.
happy.
Hey, John,
Thanks.
is she ready to meet me yet, or give her a little
I
time?
give her a little time, Emerson.
All
Give her a little
right.
time.
Emerson, not till after
Give
the
her
first
more
of the
than a
year.
little time. Yeah.
Wait till she mentions your name to Sandy. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you,
All right.
guys.
Have a good evening. I got
Have a good night.
5:30.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Okay, now how do you put that?